Hello and welcome back to Art Masters with me, Mrs. Portilla. Today we're going to be doing some abstract faces just like Picasso. Picasso simplified nature into geometric shapes, creating an art movement called Cubism. He also could draw realistic, but he liked to use the right side of his brain and be creative and not plan so much. So today we're going to be doing some faces using our creative right side of our brain and making them abstract, just like Pablo Picasso. So when you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do with our Picasso is we're going to get a pencil and our practice sheet. So your practice sheet may be a little bit smaller than mine, but that's okay. We're just working on using our right side of the brain instead of our left side of the brain. So what does that mean? Let's look at this image here. There are two separate sides to our brain, the left side and the right side. Some things we do are controlled by the right side, like think, invent, enjoy, ideas, create. While other things are controlled by the left, like how we plan, we talk, read, count. And if you simply decide to turn off the left brain, the right creative side brain can work better. So we're going to try to turn off that thinking left brain and get our creative right brain working today. So what we're going to do is we're going to try holding our pencil, not like we're writing sentences and thinking about homework. We're going to be holding our pencil kind of like a paintbrush. So maybe we're going to hold it more like with 4 fingers and a thumb. Okay. So let's try that, holding it like this for this exercise. We are going to look at the line on the left side of the page, and we're going to make the opposite. So our left side of the brain, the one that likes to plan, doesn't like doing this. So our right brain is going to take over. So we're just going to not think about it, and we're just going to take our pencil and try to copy the opposite side. But do you see how I'm doing it quickly and I'm not thinking? And I'm holding my pencil like a brush. If you're left-handed, you'll just turn your paper over and you'll do it like this. Okay, so before we start our drawing, we're going to take our Pablo Picasso tag. Let's write our name on it, and we're going to glue it on the back with a glue stick. So now, I want everyone to have their white paper, and everyone should get an image like this one, and our pencil. There's another trick to turning off the left side of the brain, and that is to turn the picture upside down. So what that does is that makes it so our brain isn't seeing a girl, an eye, a mouth, a nose. We're just seeing kind of abstract line and shape. And that's what we want today because we're doing an abstract drawing. Look at Picasso's drawing. His is very abstract, right? So we're going to turn our picture upside down, and we will notice that this paper that we're drawing on is bigger than this paper, but they're actually proportional. So what that means is I'm not going to draw this face super tiny. I want to fill up the whole page just like this image fills up its whole page, right? So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a point, and I would say I'm going to pick these 2 straight lines. And I'm not going to identify what maybe it is because I want my right brain just to draw the lines as they appear. So I'm noticing that these lines don't go all the way down to halfway across the page. They're just a little bit shorter than that. And I'm noticing that they go right kind of down the middle of my page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dot here and here, and then I'm going to do that on my paper. I'm going to put a dot here and about where I think that line should end. That's as big as my hand. Your hands might be a little smaller than mine, but that line I'm going to draw is about as big as my hand. So I'm going to go draw that line, and then I'm going to put a hand in between, and I'm going to draw a dot and a dot line. So let's go ahead and draw these two long lines. And we're just going to draw two lines, and there's about a hand in between, and they're about my hand long, okay? Okay, so now we're going to do our next shape. So remember, we're just thinking about the shapes. We're not thinking about what it is. And I'm seeing this line that almost fills up that whole page. There's just a little bit of space around the edges. And I see that that line is wavy and it's kind of rounded. So I'm going to do this outside line just like I see it. And I'm not holding my pencil like this. I'm trying to hold it loose. So maybe this isn't comfortable for you, but you still want to hold it very loose, okay? So now I'm going to sketch this line. And if you want to use a dot, you can. So I see that the edge of this line is very close to the top here. So maybe I'll put a dot there. And I notice the edge of this line is maybe going to be here. And I'll do that. You don't have to do dots. This is just giving me some placement that's going to help me make my shape big. So I'm going to start at the bottom of this line. Wave, wave, wave. And then I'm going to touch my dot. Then I'm noticing that this curves all the way up. Oh, it's so big. I'm going to curve it here. And then I'm going to curve it back down. And now I'm going to go back to this wavy shape here. So you saw I didn't sit and think too much, but I wanted to make it really big to fill up my paper, okay? Don't worry about erasing because we are going to go over this in marker. So the dots just help us make it big. So let's all draw this wavy curved shape around our paper and try to fill up our whole page. Okay, great job. Let's do our next big shape. That next big shape is almost a big circle or oval. So I'm noticing that my circle shape here sits right on top of these two lines. So I may draw a dot right there to help me. And then I see there's some space in between this outside line and the inside line. So I'm just doing dots just to help me with my placement. You don't have to do the dots. I'm going to hold my pencil loosely and I'm going to make a big oval circle shape with a little bit of angles. Just like that. So it's a big shape, and the great thing about abstract is the shape doesn't have to be perfect. So just let's make a big oval or circle shape inside of that outside shape. Okay, great. So remember, our picture is still upside down, our reference picture and our drawing, because we don't want to be thinking about the things we're drawing. We're just drawing lines and shapes. So the next big shape that I'm going to do is I kind of see these two big curved lines here. So they look like they almost go all the way across my big shape. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw from this line here, I'm going to draw a curved line to the middle and then a big curved line there. And then I'm just going to draw two lines down. So let's draw that next inside shape. So we're doing two big curves. They're not little tiny ones. They go almost all the way across my shape. Okay, so we're going to try to draw what we see, keeping our pencil loose and not thinking about what the shape is. Okay, excellent. The next shape that I'm seeing, but they're like an oval with a little bit of a point. So I'm going to draw a big oval and a big oval, and then maybe I'll go over that oval and make a point. So let's draw two big ovals underneath that shape we drew. We're copying what we see. And then you can make it with a little bit of a point, just like the picture. Excellent. Let's draw the rest of the shapes that we see. So I see this little curvy squiggle shape. So I'm gonna draw the squiggly shape that I see. And then I'm seeing kind of another oval with two little triangle points on top. So I'm gonna do decent size oval, and then I'm gonna put a peak or a triangle tip on top and a wavy line in the middle. So I started with an oval shape to get the size. I put two little triangle peaks on top, a wiggly line through the middle, and a curve. Okay, excellent. So the last thing I see are a little bit more of these little details where there's two circles in each of these big ovals. So let's draw those two circles, and I also see there's like a little double line there. So I'm gonna put a line right underneath that shape, put a line underneath that shape. I'm gonna do the same thing. Follow the curve of that shape, follow the curve of that shape, and then two circles. So if you don't wanna do the double line there, just do the two circles. All right, my friends, I think we are ready to turn our drawing over and see what we have. Well, look at that. That is looking like a person. So now mine does not look exactly like that, but this is abstract. This looks like an abstract person to me. So if you notice that maybe you forgot to put the eye circles in, now that we know they're eyes, you can do that. If you notice your nose didn't, you forgot that wiggly line, let's add that. So before we go over with marker, we're just gonna take a little bit of time and make sure you got all of the elements, like the double circle. All right, so we are gonna go over with our marker. We're gonna trace over our lines. If there's a line you don't like, don't draw over it. And once the marker's there, we can erase it. So we're gonna use our black pens. We're gonna trace over our lines. We could do this right side up since we already have our drawing. All right, so now we're gonna get our soft pastels. So last time we used oil pastels. This time we're gonna use soft pastels. These are a little bit more like chalk, where they're powdery. So we're gonna be careful with these, and guess what? We're not gonna be coloring directly on our picture. We're gonna be doing a color stain. So let me explain what I mean by that. So if you still have this sheet, we could use this sheet, or you could use your newsprint. And we'll notice with Picasso, does he use typical colors on his paintings? I see someone that looks like maybe a blue clarinet player, and there's maybe a gray person. So we don't have to use traditional colors when we're doing this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my chalk, and I wanna make, again, you could do this on newsprint or your scratch paper here. I wanna make a little powder. We're not gonna blow the powder because that's gonna make a mess. We just wanna keep our powder there. And then everyone should have a little bit of tissue. And I'm gonna dip or kind of rub into that powder. And then I'm gonna go right over my face. So I'm noticing that's a little bit too light. So I'm gonna use a darker color so you guys can see it a little better. So you see how that's making just a light color stain. And I'm going right over my marker. And I didn't erase my pencil lines because I didn't need to, and I'm gonna put this stain over. So let's everyone pick one color of chalk. We're just gonna fill in the face, and if you want, you can fill in the neck the same color, but let's start with one color, and let's do the face with that color. Excellent. So we could do our neck, and we could do the neck the same color, or we could pick a different color. So we're gonna do the same technique, make a chalk, and then go over her neck. Good. So if you need to, you can tap your page on your newsprint. We don't wanna blow or wipe with our hand. We want to be careful with our hands because this chalk is smudgy. Now we're going to do the hair. So you could pick whatever color you would like for the hair. Since mine is abstract, I'm going to go with orange and make it really contrast. So we're going to do the same thing on your newsprint or your scratch paper. Make a little chalk powder and use your tissue, and let's do the hair. Okay, so we should have our face and our hair. We could tap, tap carefully and set it back down. Excellent. So now I want to do a little bit more details in the eye and maybe the mouth, since now my brain is working all together again. I'm going to try to do the same technique and see if I could just get it a little bit darker. I'm going to kind of dab it there. You can use your chalk on the mouth, but you're just going to kind of do a line, and then you're going to spread that out inside there, okay? So we could do that two different ways. We could do it with the chalk on our paper, or you could just, I didn't scribble it on there, I just kind of put a line, and then I took my tissue and I just kind of blended it, and then again, we can tap, tap. Excellent. I'm going to do the same thing with my eye. I'm going to take a color, put a little bit here, and I think I'm going to use this directly on there, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a line, See how I didn't color it in? I just put a line there, and then I'm going to smush my tissue, and then I'm just going to do little circular motions. So if you're feeling like you're done, I think this is a great time to stop. If you feel like you want to add a little bit more, maybe you second graders want to add a little bit of like a blush tone on the cheeks, you would do your powder wash, and you could just dab and dab. If you wanted to add a little bit to the eyebrows, you could do just like we did with the lips. Put one little line, and blend. So we're just doing those final details. Your name should already be on the back. And great job with your Picasso face and turning off that left brain today. Great job, everyone, with your drawing. I hope that everyone came out with an abstract looking face with a little bit of color stain. And now that we all know how to turn off that left brain when we're being creative, we could turn our drawings upside down and let our right brain do all the work. If you have time to evaluate, you could evaluate balance, color, or the different shapes that you see. Great job today with our drawings by Picasso. I'll see you next time on Art Masters.